हेलो एवरीवन। तो आज हमारे साथ हैं गुरमीत सेठी सर एंड बहुत ज़्यादा एक्सपीरियंस्ड हैं अबाउट इंटरव्यूज़ एंड जैसे आप सभी का इंटरव्यू बहुत नज़दीक आ चुका है तो ही इज़ अ स्पेशलिस्ट इन दैट। तो कुछ बहुत ही स्पेसिफिक सवाल हम सर से चाहते हैं पूछना और हम सर से चाहेंगे कि मैक्सिमम हमें ऐसे इनपुट्स मिल जाएं कि बच्चों का और बेटर, जैसे अभी आपने मेंस क्रैक किया तो आपका और बेटर आउटपुट निकले एंड एक इस बार फाइनली रैंक लेकर आप बाहर आए। तो इसलिए ओवर टू सर क्विकली। तो सर बिफोर वी बिगिन, तो सर कुछ बहुत ही क्विक पॉइंटर्स फॉर ऑल दोज पीपल हु आर अपेयरिंग फॉर इंटरव्यू दिस ईयर।
Right. Thank you very much, friends. It's a big honor for me to be talking to all of you. First of all, congratulations for having cracked your civil services papers this year. I would be wanting to cover, those things which are normally not given out on various channels. You see, you normally find a lot of gin given to you on YouTubes which talk about, you see, how to prepare for the personality development phase. But I would like to talk upon those areas, which perhaps you can, it will help you to understand the whole process in a very simplified manner, number one. Number two, so that, you develop that confidence which is supposed to be there with just about 2 months of preparation period left, etc. And so that you can channelize your thought process in a way so as to really make it very, very convenient for you to be able to answer and face this very challenging situation that you have as part of your selection process. Friends, let me begin with a couple of things first. Okay. Now, as we all know, that this complete phase is called the personality assessment stage. When we talk about the personality assessment stage, the word persona comes to my mind. Persona stands for the mask that we all wear, and we think that we are going to wear a mask and go, where we are going to hide ourselves, the real self, and perhaps, we'll be able to come across ourselves in a better manner. Friends, let me tell you something. The moment you take off your mask and your original self, right, I think you would be much more confident. So that is the first thing that I would recommend is that in case you're thinking of wearing a mask and go, please don't wear one. Okay, go the way you are. You're beautiful the way you are, right? You'll be very confident the way you present yourself, your original self. And if you're able to do it, I'm sure you'll come out as a very original and a natural person. And it'll also help the board to, understand you in a very much better manner. And I'm sure it'll have a very, very big appeal before them, right? Wherein they are going to judge, ki, yes, here's a person who's absolutely original, down to the earth, and has come in a way in which, he feels that he should be seen as. So this is the first suggestion I would like to give, right? For those of you who are trying to, thinking that you can fake the process, please forget about it. The second thing is to understand the word personality. You see, when we talk about the personality assessment stage, personality is a very loaded word, if you really see. And the word personality assessment basically is all about leaving an impact behind after you've gone from this room. So as long as you are there, your impact is being felt. So you will find that the complete board which is sitting over there is trying to assess your personality. You see, but the final verdict only comes, you see, after you've gone from that room. And the whole process is so subjective that at times, we fail to understand कि कैसे check करते हैं. After all, ये कैसे देख गए कि मेरे को इनको रखना चाहिए कि नहीं रखना चाहिए. राइट मेरे में क्या था जो कि इनको अपील किया या क्या नहीं था जो कि इनको अपील नहीं किया. और हमने कभी कभी तो बोर्ड से भी ये पता करने की कोशिश करी कि क्या है, व्हाट इज रॉन्ग विद द कैंडिडेट. There's so many mock interviews which people give when we talk to these panel members, and they give you a very, very vague sort of a comment. ठीक है, थोड़ी और clarity होनी चाहिए, right? Could have gone into more deeper details, etc. His body language could have been better. So you get very abstract and very, I would say, subjective sort of a report, which leaves the candidate even more confused as to what he should improve upon. You tell me last moment that I should have more depth, I wouldn't know what to do. You tell me improve your body language, I wouldn't know what to do last moment. So friends, I think we need to understand this process a little more deeper and try to understand it from a practical aspect rather than a theoretical point of view. I'm sure you all agree to this, right? Yes, yeah, okay. I can even take on questions if you want, right? So please shoot your questions, have your questions ready in the meantime. In the meantime, I'd like to cover a few more details. You would have normally seen that this profession of a civil servant, right? The word civil servant itself stands, and the key word is servant. Okay. The servant, that means that you need to have that humility, you need to have that compassion, you need to have the understanding of the system, right, in which you're going to operate. And if you don't have even these basics, I think you're going into a wrong profession. You must be able to live, breathe, sleep, drink, and eat this profession. That's what makes it a unique profession. You're going to be in a position, where you'll have powers, but that power should not go to your head. Okay, the power should be used for a purpose, for the common benefit of the common man. Okay, and do you have it in you? So that's the way to look at it. I've seen people come out very arrogant. They say power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Right? So normally we find that people who are usually who drink this power normally start thinking that I'll make big money. They start thinking, oh, I'll be a powerful man, I'll have all the perks and privileges with me. Right? Please understand these are not perks and privileges, but these are things which are given to you in order to facilitate your working. Okay, so if you're going with these impressions, I think the very first thing which has gone into your head is gone in a very wrong manner. Normally people ask, सर तो फिर देखते क्या हैं? आफ्टर ऑल ये तो बताइए कि फिर वहां पे चेक क्या होता है और कैसे होता है? हमें जब भी कोई बंदा मिलता है कहता है यू मस्ट हैव लीडरशिप क्वालिटीज. People talk in terms of officer like qualities. People talk in terms of that no, you should have all the listed qualities, and there are hundreds of them. Because these words themselves are very loaded words if you really see, right? So how do you check? And within an interview of about 20 to 30 minutes, how are they able to check so many qualities, right? Just because they are asking questions and we keep on replying, so are they able to check by virtue of that? Wow. So that means there's a lot much to be covered when it comes to this sort of a understanding. क्वेश्चन का आंसर देता रहूंगा, मेरे से पूछते रहेंगे अबाउट जनरल नॉलेज, करंट अफेयर्स, अबाउट माय सब्जेक्ट एरियाज, एंड आई विल कीप आंसरिंग देम. सो हाउ आर दे गोइंग टू चेक द क्वालिटीज व्हिच यू जस्ट मेंशनड? This is one question which I find most of the candidates do not understand. Friends, it's a very simplified process, let me tell you. And those of you think that it's all about luck, again, I'll basically want you to rethink about it, because it's not कि luck काम आ जाएगा या नहीं आएगा, right? If you are good, you have to be proved to be good before any panel whatsoever. If you are not good, I can assure you, उन्होंने दूध का दूध और पानी का पानी कर लेना है. कैसे करते हैं? We'll like to talk to you more about it. Friends, another aspect that I would like to touch upon is, before you start asking me questions, in any audience, we normally find two types of people: a leader and a worker, right? Leader thinks very differently from that of a worker. You can make out the qualities of a leader, the moment he starts to speak. You can see the reflective vision in his talk. You can see the depth in his analysis. You can see the ability of his communication. And therefore, you see, we are able to make out that this person is, I do not know whether leaders are born or leaders are made. I would not like to get into that sort of a debate, right? Which I'm sure we've all been through ever since our school and college days. So the point what I'm trying to make is, by now we should have had those qualities, because this is what the perfect fit is required. A civil servant is a person from whom a lot of leadership initiative is expected. A lot of officer like qualities are expected. You're supposed to have that vision. You are supposed to have the depth in your analysis when you adjudicate matters. I would not call it adjudicate, sorry. I would call it that when you reflect upon those matters and when you come across certain situations, right? It is at that time that we can find that profound, you see, sagacity in your thought process, right? When you put them across. The other aspects which I've normally come across is the perfect fit की जिसकी हम बात करते हैं. Perfect fit in terms of the role. And here we are talking of the role of a civil servant. A servant is the underlying key word, right? A person, when we talk about being a civil servant or a servant, we talk in terms of humility, we talk in terms of compassion, we talk in terms of empathy, your ability to put yourself in the shoes of the others and think from their point of view, their perspective, right, etc. The perfect fit is also in terms of, you see, your ability to comprehend things, your ability to decide upon matters, etc. So there are a whole lot of things, in fact. Each of these words, if we list out, and that you keep on coming across on various YouTube channels, and people, when they tell you that these are the qualities required of a civil servant, you will find that they are endless. And you must be worrying as to how is it possible for a person to imbibe all these qualities? And more than that, how is it possible for the panel to judge these qualities within a short frame of time? 30 to 40 minutes, right? And the person has to find out whether you have those qualities or not. Many of you start thinking, well, it's all a matter of luck. Some of you even say that, it is a matter of, whether they like my face or not. Well, friends, let me tell you, it's a very clear, crystal clear process जहां पे दूध का दूध और पानी का पानी हो जाता है, राइट? अगर आप में ये चीजें हैं तो वो रिफ्लेक्ट करेंगी, अगर आप में नहीं है तो हमें साफ पता चल जाता है कि इसमें इस बंदे में ये चीजें नहीं है. तो फ्रेंड्स, ये प्रोसेस एक बड़ा ही साफ सुथरा प्रोसेस है. नहीं तो शायद अब तक आई एम श्योर द यूपीएससी वुड हैव थॉट ऑफ सम अदर थिंग्स, right? But then if this process is stuck, I'm sure there is some madness behind it. So let's see what's the madness behind it. I'm sure there must be something, right, which helps a person to decide as to whether this person should be selected or rejected, right? Or where do you stand in the order of merit, and what services should be given to you, right? How do we decide upon that? It's a very, I'm sure nobody is going to tell you that, but today we shall try to unravel some of the, mysteries which are going on in your mind. The other thing which I want to discuss before I get into this is that it's certainly not a test of your subject knowledge. Okay, we get over obsessed with it, having had prepared so hard, with our subjects. We've been doing all the GK, we've been reading all the current affairs, we've been reading all the editorials, we've been preparing our notes, we've been reading The Economist, we've been reading The Hindu, we've been reading so many newspapers and magazines, okay, etc. And so we think that नहीं नहीं यही पूछेंगे बार बार, और पूछते भी हैं यार, मैंने खुद सुना कि लोग पूछते हैं. सो वी गेट ऑब्सेस्ड बाय दैट. फ्रेंड्स, यस, पूछेंगे, मैंने ये नहीं कहा नहीं पूछेंगे, लेकिन उनके पूछने का मकसद कुछ और ही होगा. और वो पूछने का मकसद क्या है कि हमें एक मीडियम चाहिए जहां आपकी और मेरी तार मिलती हो. तो उस तार को मिलाने का मतलब है कि हमारे के बीच में कोई कॉमनैलिटी होनी चाहिए ताकि मैं आपसे बातचीत कर सकूं. और उस बातचीत के जरिए आई एम गोइंग टू फाइंड आउट सो मेनी अदर थिंग्स अबाउट यू, राइट, विच विल इवन सरप्राइज यू. आपकी ये जो शीट है जिसको आप ड्राफ्ट कहते हैं, राइट, इसमें जो जो पर्टिकुलर्स दिए, दैट इज अनदर थिंग यू सी विच गिव्स मी अ कॉमनैलिटी बिटवीन यू एंड मी टू आस्क यू क्वेश्चंस ऑन इट. So don't think that this is a question answer session where questions are going to be asked and you're going to get me the answers. Even if 20 questions are asked and you happen to answer 16 of them, your score is not 16 out of 20. I hope you understand this. Okay, it's a very, very different process. So even though you may not have answered all the questions, right, you may still get through. And even after having answered all the questions, you may still not get through. So friends, I think it's a very, very tricky process and we need to understand as to where lies the trick. I am now going to talk about as to how do they judge, what do they judge? And from your point of view, I'm going to make it very, very simple. Let's see, there are just 5 things that can be checked in a process like this. What are these 5 things? The first thing which comes to my mind is attitudes. Friends, they normally say, and this holds good for any and every organization, they say companies and organizations recruit you for attitude and train you for aptitude. You've already been through an aptitudinal process where you have cleared the prelims, you've cleared the mains, so that part is over. And now comes the attitudinal process where we are going to find out whether you hold that attitude with you or not. Okay, you all know attitudes are infectious. A person with a lousy attitude, you don't feel like having him in your team even. So attitudes have to be, I would say, real A class. What do we mean by this? Attitudes are a loaded word. We all heard of glass half full, glass half empty, but we still are confused as to which half is what, right? I'll try to explain this even further. However, in simple words, if you want to understand attitudes, it comprises of 4 distinct words. That is adaptability, moldability, learnability, and flexibility, right? We would like you to have these 4, right? You are yet at the threshold of your career. You're about to begin your career. Do you have learnability? Are you flexible enough, right, to adapt to various situations, right? Are you moldable? Can you mold yourself in the way and manner in which we expect you to be molded? So this is what we look at. How we check on this, we'll come to it a little later. The second aspect which I look forward to in a person during an interview is his energy levels. And if you really ask me, an interview is nothing but a reflection and a graph of your energy levels. You find that after a couple of questions not being answered, your energy level starts dipping, and they dip at times to such a level that you're not able to pick it up thereafter. You know it that it slipped out of your hands, and you know it that the entire interview has slipped out of your hands, right? So it is nothing but a check on your energy levels. Can you maintain energy levels? Can you bounce back even after having not answered a couple of questions? Can you bounce back with the next question? Very few people can manage it. They can only do so provided they've been through a very, very positive and a very, should I say, die-hard optimistic attitude if they possess. They bounce back. Others slip out and they simply give it away. They come out regretting and shaking their heads. Oh my God, I couldn't manage. मेरी आंखों के आगे अंधेरा आ गया था. मेरा गला सूख गया था. So these are the dialogues which you normally hear from people when they come out. Well, we can understand this, friends. Never mind. It all comes with that positivity. I think the energy follows. The third thing that we need to talk about is the leadership qualities. I told you it's a leadership role. It's an officer-like role. You need to possess those qualities. But then they were very loaded words, right? And we were very confused as to how many of them can you possess and what are these. I'm going to talk about only two of them. They're the profound qualities which you'll find in any leader. Number one, analytics. Number two, communication. You'll find any leader and you'll find these two qualities in them. You ask them to talk about something, they'll go into the depth and details of it. They'll go to the bottom of it, right? They'll talk in terms of, explaining to you, and they'll open the subject matter threadbare, right? So that's why when GK and current affair questions are asked, you see, we expect you to analyze and not basically simply give a judgment on it. You're not supposed to be judging the thing. You're supposed to give us an analysis of it, right? Analysis again is of three types: analysis of situations, analysis of people, and analysis of numbers. You see, and let me again share another thing which may surprise you. Supposing I have to select you for IRS, okay, how do I determine that this candidate should go for IRS? Any ideas? Right? And the way to do it is because these people have inherent number crunching skills. These people, to them, numbers come to them, right? Very, very normally. They don't come to everybody. Let me be very honest. Okay. So the point is, we can make out, well, he'll be a perfect fit for this sort of a role. There'll be other people you see who will fit into a very strategic role. And these are the type of people who have all these three analytical skills in them. Right? They're good with all three. They're good at numbers, they're good at people, they're good at situation analysis, etc. And these are the people who are taken for the top slots. So look at the way we are able to determine even as to who should be taken to which slot and who should be not be given a particular role. Right? Coming on to communication. Very, very important. It's not your English, it's not your Hindi alone. Okay, communication is something very, very different. Communication, first of all, means connecting to your audience. Can you connect? When you speak, are you able to connect? Right? This simple one word, I think, answers it all. It comprises of further three things. You all may have theoretically heard about it. Your word power? Yes, definitely. Your paralinguistics, that is your tone, pitch, rhythm, etc., your pauses that you give. And the third, your body language, right? And each of them also reflects your attitude. The choice of words. Do you choose positive words? Do you choose negative words? Even your tone matters. At times we say this guy is arrogant. What makes us think that the person is arrogant? His tone tells us that this guy is arrogant. Okay, your body language, it is a give all, right? It gives away everything about you. That's why we said the words play only 7% part. Your paralinguistics plays 38% part, and your body language plays 55% part in the entire game that is being played. Right? At times your words speak differently from your body language, and we can make out that what he says, he doesn't mean it, okay, etc. So friends, this is how we are going to read through you in order to understand as to what's going on at the back of your mind. You cannot fool us. These people are damn experienced, very learned, right, and can make out in minutes as to what sort of a candidate are you. So don't ever try thinking about this. Okay, be original. That will what will give you the confidence. और कहते हैं सच्चाई में जितना दम है शायद किसी में नहीं है, right? And the conviction, that the inner conviction always comes by speaking the truth. That's why you don't know an answer. It's better to admit that you don't know by simply saying, "I'm so sorry, sir. I don't know this answer." Right? We would rather accept it. You're a human being, first of all. Please understand. And humans are the people who are. They make mistakes, but they accept the mistakes and they learn from the mistakes and move on. Right? Have you moved on in life is what we look at. So don't think that you're going to be treated like gods who have done nothing wrong and have committed no mistakes. You would have committed mistakes, but can you really accept those mistakes is what we are looking at. The next thing we look at it is your personality. I told you personality is a very loaded word. Again, the inner persona and the outer persona. Your outer persona does matter, the way you carry yourself, the way you dress up. It's a formal occasion, you need to dress up. Why not? Right? It's an important day of your life. So you cannot say, मैं ऐसे ही जाऊंगा जो मर्जी हो जाए, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Right? No. You've got to take care that you are prepared for the day. But your inner persona, I'm sure the preparation for which began much, much earlier, is something which is of importance. It will reflect, friends. Your value system will come into play. I would say, the way you reflect upon various issues is going to tell us as to what goes on inside you, right? The way you are going to, turn and twist in your chair at times, while answering certain questions, your body language is going to give away your inner persona at that point of time. So these are the things that we are going to check, right, and see, and would be able to make out as to what sort of a person are you. Last but not the least, the fifth point that I'm going to take up is your people handling skills. After all, you're going to be dealing with people as a civil servant, right? It's nothing but people handling skills. You'll be dealing with various situations, where you'll have to diffuse. And let me tell you, these 5 fingers are not the same. You make these 5 fingers wear the same uniform, you pass them the same instructions and orders, yet you'll find all 5 of them dancing differently. It's not like technology, it's not like machines where you put them on and they get on, where you put them off and they get off, right? In fact, this is the most challenging area that you're going to find in your careers. We're going to check you, and this can be checked by even posing hypothetical questions. What if? And we put you in a situation and then see as to how do you react and behave, or what did you do when such a such thing happened. You see, so we can make out as to how did you react in certain situations and certain difficult situations when you were put through. So friends, in short, I've tried telling you as to how do they go about checking all this. I'd like to talk once more about, and come back to attitudes, because this is one area many people keep asking me. So how do they check attitudes during the course of an interview, which you said was very, very important and critical? I'll give you a small example. Like, for example, we talk about your hobbies from your sheet. We talk about your extracurriculars, right? And your interests. So what are these, if you really see? There's a statement that I'm going to make, right? Please reflect upon it. And we say, an empty mind is the devil's workshop. Okay. Another statement that I want to make is that a man is known by the company he keeps and the friends he has. The books he reads. So what goes in, right, is going to determine as to how do you spend your free time, what goes on in your mind, etc. And you will find at times you see people having very frivolous activities. एक और क्वेश्चन इससे पहले मैं उठाऊंगा आपके क्वेश्चंस लेने से पहले, और वो है स्ट्रेंथ्स और वीकनेसेस को लेकर. When we talk about strengths and weaknesses, I hear people talking about some very frivolous strengths and weaknesses, right? Like, for example, sir, my strength is my family. Sir, my strength is my God. Okay, as if others don't have a God, right? Then there people say, sir, my strength is that I'm a very good cook. Please understand one thing. Strengths and weaknesses with respect to the career that you're going to enter into. The strengths and weaknesses are not independent of that. Okay. So when we talk about strengths and weaknesses, I would like you to reflect upon, are you talking with respect to the career? Like, for example, I may be a bad cook, but that does not mean that I don't have the requisite strengths for as a civil servant. Right? So we need to talk sense. Please understand it from the context in which the question is being asked, and please accordingly address it. ओके, एक और क्वेश्चन मैं अपने आप ही उठा लेता हूं, और वो है कि जीके और करंट अफेयर्स में क्या फर्क है. जीके is either you know it or you don't know it. The answer is only in one word. Okay, don't beat around the bush. Current affairs, don't answer ever in a yes and no. Always analyze, analyze, and analyze. I hope it's clear. Right, friends, with this, I think I would leave it for you guys to ask me questions if you have any. Right, I've just given you a broad coverage of things as I felt, which I normally come across people, right, when we take these mock interviews, that we come across that they do not possess, right, and we are, at times, pained to say that this guy, you see, could have prepared better before coming to us. So, friends, are you ready with your questions? Let's have your questions.
Yes, sir. Sir, I would really like to know, what if you're not fluent in English? Like, you have a lot of pauses and like that. So, what can we possibly do to work on that, on the language?
Right. A very good question. And in fact, you see, many of the trainers have been talking to me about it. That this is one area where we find people wanting, because this is conversational skills are not something which you pick up overnight. Okay. So in fact, your preparation for civil services should have started, you see, the moment you started thinking about it. And this is one aspect which you should have started to prepare right from the word go. It's like what even a profound author like Norman Lewis says. He says, the author of the book, read, how to read, write, and speak better. So he says, read, read, and read for more, right? And he also advises you to do 4 things on a daily basis. That is, read something, speak something, write something, and listen to something. So it requires all these 4 things to be done on a daily basis if you want to improve. Right, but then what can we do now? So the question is this, okay, at this juncture, what do I do? I've normally come across people with very poor vocabulary and very not quite a good grasp, okay? I've at times come across people, you see, who do not have a good grasp of the language. I just covered something, if you really understood, and that was that communication skills are what is being checked and not your language skills. So you need to be formal in your language. That's one thing. So avoid slangs, right? And number two, like what I said, that it's not the word par alone, it's your paralinguistics and your body language, which is more important. I see a number of times people, you see, absolutely tied down in the seat and not really using the body language to answer questions. Okay, you need to relax, sit properly, use your hands, right, so that even your body starts to speak. Okay, have a smile on your face. I'm sure it's gonna convey much more than your words, right?
Sir, another question that I would like to ask is that you said that personality is already developing over past few months or past few years that we have been studying. So, what are the priority areas that we can work upon in the next, say, 1.5 months that will reflect that what we are in the interview itself? What are the priority areas that we can work upon in such a short span of time?
True. I also mentioned something related to personality and persona, if you recall. And one thing which I mentioned was be original, be yourself. Okay. We are humans. Okay. So we all have, pluses and minuses. But let's capitalize on our strengths and let's be positive with our attitude. I'm sure the being positive with your attitude is going to reflect the positive end of your personality as well to us, right? You're going to come out as a very, very likable person, you see, when you do that. And this is what, you see, endears you to one and all, even during the course of an interview, when you happen to have a very positive stance, your positive reflection of your body language, positive choice of words, positive, tone, etc. And this would compensate for everything. The other aspect which I talked about was that don't wear a mask, okay? Be absolutely original, right? So this is exactly what we look forward to. I'm sure if you have that, I will compensate you for most of the things you see during the course of your interview.
Okay, sir.
Another person wants to ask a question.
Yeah, sure, please.
A very good afternoon, sir. Thanks for the interaction. Sir, I would like to ask is that like I am quite naive and inexperienced in decision making. So how can I improve on that? And like there is another question, and how to tackle the hypothetical situations if they put me in any situation, how to tackle that?
Right. You posed two questions to me. The first one was on how to be decisive, how to, be good at decision making. Again, like what I would say that this decision making things comes very early in one's life. Like for example, at our homes itself, you see, when we start taking decisions and our parents allow us the freedom to decide for ourselves. I see, people at your age, at times going to a store to buy a T-shirt for themselves, and the shopkeeper shows them four T-shirts: red, blue, green, white, and the person is trying to click a photograph and send it to his mom. Mom, which one should I buy? Now look at this, right? How do you expect decision making to suddenly come up during the interview stage? Okay, so I would say that this is the moment you start deciding at least for yourself. You'll be in a better position to start taking decisions. The second question which you asked me was related to how to take on hypothetical questions. Please understand hypothetical questions, as the name itself suggests, are questions where the inputs have not been given to you adequately. Right? What if you were? Right? And the question starts like that. Now, obviously, that means all the inputs have not been given to you, and they see that how impulsive are you. And normally we see that person jumps to a conclusion, starts answering it, right? And he makes a mess out of it. Then you are cross-questioned and cross-examined on it, and you find that you've been caught on the wrong foot, right? So the best way here is to ask for inputs. I'll give a simply one-line solution to it, and the way to handle your hypothetical question is by questioning the question. Please try to understand this. Questioning the question. I did not say question the interviewer. Never ever try to question an interviewer. I said questioning the question. How do we do it? When we say, sir, it would depend upon, and then we list out the parameters based on which the whole thing would depend upon. And finally, you could give him what you feel you could have done. Understood?
Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome.
There is another question.
Sir, I would like to ask that when we enter the interview room, a full panel is sitting, so whom should we greet? Should we greet all or should we greet the chairperson?
Right. Very, I would say, a simple question, but nevertheless, once caught on the wrong foot, it can embarrass you, and therefore you need to get it right. First of all, when we enter, I have normally seen people asking, may I come in, sir? And then we find that there's a panel of ladies sitting over there, right? So the very thing starts right at the gate itself. So when you give that customary knock, as we call it, you see, you are supposed to address as, may I come in, please? And not, may I come in, sir, or may I come in, madam? Okay, so please note this, otherwise you are likely to offend the people inside when you find that andar to madam बैठी है और मैं may I come in, sir, may I come in, sir कर रहा हूँ. Right, so may I come in, please would save you from that situation. And then when you are asked to come in, move in. How to wish? This question was when to wish, how to wish. The moment your eye contact gets established, okay, you're supposed to wish. It may be a longish room, where you need to walk all the way, and you find as you're walking, the panel is looking at you and you're walking like a dumb guy. Okay, so you need to wish. Okay, so the moment your eye contact gets established, you're supposed to wish. How do I wish? Do I wish ladies first? Do I wish the chairman first? Do I wish everyone? Well, in case you've been able to spot the chairman, you may say, good evening, sirs, right? And then good evening, everyone. Yeah, good evening, ladies, and good evening, gentlemen. So it does not really matter as long as you wish. Okay. So please don't get so obsessed with ki kisko pehle, kisko baad mein, and don't get trapped into your own, I would say, questions. So as long as you wish, I think that's good enough. Another thing I've seen is some people are obsessed with the chair, right? They simply want to go and sit down and they're in a hurry to sit down. Don't do that, right? Go and stand next to the chair. I'm sure you'll be offered the chair and you'll be made to sit down. I've had even some of the interviews that may not be here, but I can assure you there could be instances where the interview may start even before you entered the room. Okay, so don't think that the interview will only start when you are seated in the chair and only then would the question answer start, right? I hope that explains a bit. You need to be ready for situations. Okay.
So I have another question. You talked about situational questions and all.
Yes.
So what should be our approach in the answer B? Should it be balanced, or should we be honest, and we should just have a proper set ki ye answer hai, and we can favor a particular, let's say, political party or not, or we should have a balanced approach? What is your opinion?
True. As a civil servant, you see, when you are going to have different political masters from time to time, you need to understand that your approach should always be more towards the polity. That means the people. That means towards the governance, etc. And here, what you do is that you need to analyze it from the point of view of good governance. Okay. And so do it from that angle rather than keeping any biases in mind. At the end of your analysis, you are free to give your own judgment about as to what you feel personally about it.
So I want to ask another question about my educational background. Like I have done the BTech engineering, so I think and feel that I am not good at it, even though I have done the engineering. So are they going to judge me on the basis of that even though I am an engineer and I don't know anything about it, like I am a computer science engineer? So I have this fear in my mind.
Right. His question is about academics. And unfortunately, this is the fear which many of us carry with us. Right. Your academics, you will be asked questions. Let me be very clear. And let me also tell you, even if you're a student of electronics and communication or computer science or whatever, you can be asked questions on any and every subject under this roof. Please understand that. Okay, that's one. The second is that you are not going for your MTech or something that we are interested in that. So don't be afraid of it. Okay. Try answering as if it's your subject. You studied it. Are you really passionate about what you've done? It's like, if I'm a civil engineer, I meet another civil engineer. Do I feel good about meeting him and sharing my knowledge with him? Or do I feel scared and say, Mar gaye, ye to civil engineer nikal gaya udhar bhi. Samajh gaye? I have a very nice quote for you, which I today, gathered from some place and which I wanted to share with you regarding your degrees. It says, डिग्रियां तो तालीम के खर्चों की रसीदें हैं डिग्रियां तो तालीम के खर्चों की रसीदें हैं इल्म वही है जो किरदार में झलकता है इल्म वही है जो किरदार में झलकता है So friends, what we are looking at is not your degrees, is not your qualifications. What we are looking at is your character, your personality. I think these carry more weightage in an interview like this. If this be so, I think we'll end with this note. And thank you very much, friends, right, for this patient hearing that you've given us, right? And we look forward to more interaction and more such interactive sessions with you. Thank you so much. Good evening, friends. It was a great pleasure and honor for me to be here amongst you. I'll give a small introduction and brief about myself so that you can understand as to what is to be expected from me. I am Lieutenant Colonel Gurmeet Sethi, an ex-NDA from the Corps of Engineers. Prior to that, I've had all my schooling and education in Calcutta and been part of one very elite school in Calcutta, Hindi High School, a Birla School. Thereafter, went to St. Javier College. I've been an alumnus of College of Military Engineering, Pune, as a civil engineer, and thereafter done several courses in the Army, 23 years in the Army, served North, South, East, West, etc., gathered a lot of experience during my tenures in combat, in technical, in administrative, in project management, etc. I've also been on staff. It's 23 years, and due to health grounds, I had to take premature retirement. Thereafter, I started an institute and was a franchisee of professional tutorials, PT education later on, and have trained more than 11,000 students as of date. I've had students of MBA, chartered accountants, law, civil service aspirants, etc. These days I'm a freelancer and I train people only on interviews. I specialize in counseling, mentoring, and training. So this is what I do. I can be reached on meetseti.com. So if any one of you have queries and want to come across, so most welcome. It will be my pleasure and honor to answer all your queries. Thank you so much.